It's Wednesday, May 25. In the headlines, JPS seeking rate increase. National identification cards revealed. Regionally, a challenge to the election date in Grenada is pending. And in sports, Sha'Carri Richardson will face off with Team Jamaica this Saturday. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, has applied to the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, for a rate increase. The OUR says JPS's 2022 annual tariff adjustment application is in keeping with the 2016 electricity license provisions. According to the OUR, the JPS has indicated that without the extraordinary rate adjustment, customers would see a 1.6% average increase in their bills. But if the two requests are approved, there would be an average 1.7% hike in bills. The utility provider has proposed a revenue target of $51.3 billion for 2022 based on system losses performance, foreign exchange surcharge, and Q-factor adjustment, which are typically taken into account in the annual review. The regulator says it will review the applications and decide by August. Jamaicans with disabilities and justices of the peace will be the first citizens to be officially issued with a special National Identification and Registration System (NIDS) cards. That's the word from Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green. Minister Green, who oversees the rollout of the National Identification and Registration System, made the announcement while delivering his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament on Tuesday.
Now is a good time to remind people that enrollment in our National Identification System is voluntary, and it will be encouraged by a robust public education campaign so that our citizens will see the value in having a national identification card.
He says persons with disabilities will need the cards to access services as those without disabilities, but noted that the reality is often such persons are without identification. To get the cards, Jamaicans will have to enroll. According to Mr. Green, the first enrollment site will be opened in Kingston by August.
And that we will have an additional 5 enrollment sites in Kingston before the end of the year. Continuing on that trajectory, Madam Speaker, we will expand beyond our pilot, which will start in Kingston and St. Andrew, and we will put in an additional 8 sites in early 2023 in Greater Portmore, Mandeville, Old Harbour, Black River, Morant Bay, Ocho Rios, Port Maria, and of course, Montego Bay.
Records at the Registrar General's Department are being digitized. Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green, says the work, which is being done at a price tag of $4 million, will see the digitization of records from as far back as 1930 to the present. During his contribution to the 2022-2023 sectoral debate, Minister Green shared the information on Tuesday.
Digitizing these paper records will yield significant benefits for Jamaicans. People will be able to obtain services at a much quicker rate, minimizing the need to search physical records and enhancing the efficiency of searches.
He says Fujitsu Caribbean Jamaica Limited has been contracted for the project and has already started the work to install the necessary infrastructure at the RGD's head office. According to Minister Green, Fujitsu is also providing training to staff on how to utilize the relative tools for that task and conducting genealogical research.
So far, 48 employees of the RGD have benefited from the training, and we will spend an additional $6 million from our National Identification System budget over the next 2 years to continue upskilling the teams at the RGD.
Minister Green also reported that the RGD's bedside registration program has increased the number of children being named immediately, resulting in establishing identity from birth. He says they now capture approximately 99% of the births in Jamaica. He adds that the bedside registration program will be upgraded with the use of an app under the NIDS project.
We have already, Madam Speaker, procured 60 purpose-built tablets which will be distributed to our registration officers. Upon the launch of the app, our registration officers will be able to populate the birth certificate in real time. What it means, Madam Speaker, is that once the information is inputted by the mother's bedside, it is automatically uploaded on the RGD systems. So where we're heading to is that by next year, Madam Speaker, mothers will be able to leave hospitals or birth centers with verifiable digital electronic copies of their children's birth certificates.
The minister says the work is being done to recraft and create a truly digital society, starting with a transformation of Jamaica's civil registry. The Auditor General conducted a special audit of the Jamaica Customs Agency JCA between the period 2016 to 2021. The audit was to ensure whether the agency had in place internal controls, including but not limited to policies and procedures to guide its tasks and activities and minimize the risk of financial losses and corrupt practices. The Public Accounts Committee held a meeting on Tuesday afternoon to review the special audit report on the JCA. Raquel Robinson has more in this report.
While making her contribution to the Public Accounts Committee, Commissioner of the Jamaica Customs Agency JCA, Velma Ricketts-Walker, said officers affiliated with the agency are present during gasoline importation checks in order to verify quantity in addition to proper documentation.
The Jamaica Customs Agency is present at the locations. Right,
so they would check the tank,
and they observe as well as check when they are able to.
So, for example,
because they are trained, Chair, they are trained to do the dip and to know what the volume is when it is offloaded, what the volume is when it is removed from the tank. They are trained. They have to seal the tank, so there is a systematic and robust control measure physically that obtains, because you mentioned that it can't just be as it relates to documentary, but the documentary review is also very important and critical. What I'm saying about the surveyor's report is that the surveyor's report is a secondary document. It is not customs' primary document. If anybody import, what we require is your invoice. What we require is your goods declaration. What we require is your bill of lading or your airway bill associated with the shipment.
Chairman of the committee, Julian Robinson, made reference to the dissatisfaction by the Office of the Auditor General to Ms. Ricketts-Walker's written statements and called on the Deputy Auditor General, Gail Lou Lim, to verbalize her complaints. In her rebuttal, Ms. Lou Lim said the lack of proper protocols regarding uncountable resources such as gasoline is problematic.
What our concern then is if it's secondary, why would then JCA subsequently upload the surveyor reports after we identify that? Yeah, well, as many as we have observed after we expressed our concern. The thing is that whereas you can identify physically countable items, we're speaking about fuel. And so it is important that there is an independent report that can validate what is received and exported. So that is where we have that concern.
The Auditor General chimed in via Zoom to express her own concerns and confusion regarding statements by the Commissioner.
The Commissioner has raised the point about the surveyor's report and that it is really not, it's a secondary form of validation. Well, that point is new to me because based on the information garnered through the audit, it was my understanding that one, there is provision on the Assecuda system to upload the surveyor's report, and it was used as a form of validation, whether it is first or secondary. but primarily to reinforce that the audit is basically highlighting the inconsistency in the implementation of the standard operating procedures of customs.
According to the report titled Special Audit of Bunkering Operations and Private Bonded Warehouses, the JCA records indicate that the duties, taxes, and fees in relation to the shipments in questions were duly accounted for. That is, payments were received by the agency. The evidence was provided to the Attorney General. Therefore, the JCA does not agree with the Attorney General's usage of the term financial exposure since there was no revenue loss. Reporting for PBCJ News, I am Raquel Robinson.
Jamaica has welcomed the news of India's endorsement of Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith for the appointment as Commonwealth Secretary General. So says Prime Minister Andrew Holness in a statement released on Tuesday evening. Mr. Holness is quoted saying, "I am pleased with the expression of public support by the Government of the Republic of India for Minister Johnson-Smith for the post of Commonwealth Secretary General. This endorsement is indicative of the confidence Minister Johnson-Smith enjoys and will certainly add to the growing momentum of her campaign, which has been exemplary," end quote. So far, the United Kingdom, Trinidad and Tobago, Singapore and the Maldives and India have formally given their nod of approval for Johnson-Smith. Meanwhile, the current holder of the position, Patricia Scotland, is on a regional tour to several CARICOM countries. During her visit to the region, she will travel to Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, where she will hold bilateral discussions with the leaders of these countries as she seeks reappointment to her position of the 54-member grouping. A decision on who will be the next Secretary General will be made at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting set for June 20 to 25 in Rwanda. Magna Motors launched a new Hyundai showroom in Jamaica. We get details of this and the regular market updates from Danita Rodney in the Business Report.
This year, Magna Motors Dealership Limited Jamaica, a Dominican Republic group, celebrated its 7th year by launching a new Hyundai showroom in Oxford Road. Ambassador of the Dominican Republic, Angie Martinez, said that the launch was a sign of the relationship between Jamaica and the Dominican Republic.
I'm here celebrating the official launch and the 7th anniversary of celebration of Hyundai Magna Motors Jamaica, which is a wonderful signal of the significant momentum that our bilateral relations are living, Jamaica and the Dominican Republic, where the commercial trade and the investment has a very important place.
Ambassador Martinez also said that the Dominican Republic is working on developing an agenda geared towards strengthening the economic bond between the two countries.
We are developing from the Embassy of the Dominican Republic a huge agenda, very extensive agenda, important and increasing and strengthening our bilateral relation. As I said, the commercial trade and the investment and the tourism between our countries play a very important role. So we're seeking to increasing in a way that we can talk really about a new era or a new era between Jamaica and the Dominican Republic.
Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Tuesday, May 24, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.41. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $121.16. The pound sterling traded for $194.05, and the euro sold for an average of $167.23. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Tuesday's trading session. The JSE index declined by 6,564 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index declined by 228 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index declined by 8,171 points to close at over 300,000 units. And the All-Jamaican Composite Index declined by 7,520 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 111 stocks, of which 12 advanced, 79 declined, and 20 traded firm. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Blue Power Group Limited, and Consolidated Bakeries Jamaica Limited. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and Barita Investments Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, CAC 2000 9.5% Cumulative Redeemable Preference Shares, and CAC 2000 Limited. The following companies represents the overall volume leaders: Wigton Wind Farm Limited Ordinary Shares with over 5 million units, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 3 million units, and Spur Tree Spices Jamaica Limited with over 2 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Clico Investment Fund was a sole security with 640 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, 0 securities were traded on Tuesday. In business news from Guyana, 3 local companies having formed a consortium on Tuesday signed a contract with the Ministry of Natural Resources to conduct a cost recovery audit of $9 billion. Kurt Campbell reports.
Heading the local consortium to conduct the audit related to the expenditure for the production of oil for the period 2018 to 2020 is Professor and Accountant Floyd Haynes. The contract was signed on Tuesday as stakeholders met at Duke Lodge, Georgetown, for the first post-consultations after the local content law was enacted in December 2021. Haynes, in brief remarks, expressed confidence that the consortium will be able to complete the audits in the specified time frame, having partnered with an international company, Martindale Consultants, to gain the necessary experience and knowledge to do oil and gas audits.
Our job is to verify the legitimacy and the validity of claim costs. If there are costs that are questioned, then that is brought to the attention of the ministry and it is adjudicated, the results of which will be made public. So that is it. The audit is not designed if there's some preconceived notion that X owes millions of dollars and billions of dollars and those types of things. You really can't know that until the audit has been performed.
Meanwhile, Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat said the signing of the contract finally puts to rest claims that the government was not willing to conduct the audits and that it could not be done since the stipulated 2-year window for the audit had elapsed.
If we are going to audit the other block, not if, but when we are going to audit the other blocks, yes, there will be new agreement, and after, when we continue beyond 2020, yes, there will be new agreement. This agreement is for 2018, 2019, 2020, 3 years. So, and they'll be working dedicatedly on the audit for the next 4 months. So we're pretty much comfortable that it can be completed by the consortium and the international partners.
The Natural Resources Minister said it was an easy option to hire an international company a year ago to do the audits, but he explained that it was important in the vein of supporting local content to build local capacity in this area. He also noted that it is costing the government less to hire this consortium of local companies to conduct the audits. Bharat reiterated that the cost recovery audits will also address validation of the government's profit oil shares. According to Bharat, Haynes and the team submitted a bid for over $1 million to audit the 3 years of activity, but after negotiation that was reduced to over $700,000 at the time of the award. For the newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
In market data for oil prices rose on Wednesday, sustained by tight supplies and the prospect of rising demand from the summer driving season in the United States. Brent crude futures gained 99 cents or 0.87% to $114.55 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude rose $1.16 or 1.06% to $110.93 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
Regionally, we begin in Grenada. As election day draws near, the leader of the Power Party, Andrea Rapier, is contemplating challenging the election date set by Grenada's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Mitchell. Christina John has the details.
So today saw the launch of the newest political party on the island, the Power Party. It was a launch unlike any other, where members of the media was invited on board the Shadow Max to hear the plans and aspirations of this new party as Grenadians prepare to go to the polls on June 23rd. Despite not having a full slate of 15 caretakers, Power Party political leader Andrea Rapier says they are ready. She explained why now and not wait later for the party to gain traction, as most believe they should. The entire team, however, will be released on June 4th. Some of the members include Rapier, Ian Roberts and Orisha Joseph.
We looked at the campaigning landscape. We found it to be insulting to the people and the potential of the country. We believe that political parties must earn the vote of our voters. Therefore, political parties must be required by our electorate to deliver promises and how they will deliver that. What is the vision for the country? Music and dance and liquor does not sell the vision. It does not develop our nation. So Power wants to challenge the political process and bring value and content so that Grenadians know exactly what they're getting.
Based on Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell's pronouncement, June 23rd, 2022 is the date set for Grenada's general election. Political leader Andrea Rapier says they are contemplating challenging the election date. Here's why.
Under consideration right now, we think our constitution should be respected. And when we lose the right to vote, we are on the verge of losing every other right. If we look historically on a global level through history, we find that when any groups of people have earned the right to vote, it has been the gateway to prove that they are respected and their human rights will be preserved. When we allow that to be threatened, we are allowing our human rights holistically to be threatened. As Power, we have a responsibility to Grenadian people to ensure that that does not happen. Unlike the current opposition, we are gatekeepers of our nation. We are taking that responsibility. So we are investigating that with legal counsel, and we will take the necessary steps to make sure that if there is wrong, it will be righted.
Guyana has expressed confidence in the support the region can receive from the Brazilian state of Roraima in achieving its food security targets and reducing the bloc's food import bill. To this end, President Dr. Ifran Ali says he intends to take a proposal to CARICOM in which he will request the state be part of the Ministerial Task Force on Agriculture. Investors across Brazil met regional leaders on Saturday, and we have a report from NCN.
President Ali, along with several CARICOM heads of government and other regional officials, spoke with the Brazilian investors about their intentions to collaborate with Guyana and the wider CARICOM region in agriculture. The president reminded that the government of Guyana, along with other CARICOM authorities, will have the necessary dialogue with investors and businesses to ensure there is a win-win situation for all involved.
We are just here to listen to you now and to have the key questions answered as to how we participate and collaborate. And we want to thank all the residents of Karasamai and the neighboring communities for your interest, because this is important for the livelihood. This is not just about food production. This is about enhancing livelihood opportunities for families and enhancing your disposable income.
President Ali says CARICOM leaders at their next summit in July would be requested to include the state's representative on the Regional Agricultural Ministerial Council.
In Antigua and Barbuda, key consultations have started on juvenile justice reform. A two-day conference was held recently focusing on Antigua and Barbuda's national diversion strategy for youth in the juvenile justice system. Sherilyn Beezer has the report.
Now in its draft stage, the program seeks to combat recidivism of juveniles, that is, a return to committing offenses. It is seeking to do this through supportive services, education, and sustainable environments. The discussions are intent on going beyond establishing a conceptual framework and diversion activities.
They are actually geared towards agreeing on key interventions that would steer the young individual away from his or her normal course of action to choosing, and notice I said, to choosing alternative options that would assist him or her on their development path towards identity formation as well.
Belize is getting its very own two-day international music and food festival. The festival, planned for the final days of July, is being hailed by the country's tourism board as a platform to build exposure for Belizean artists while boosting tourism traffic during the industry's slow season. 7 News Belize reports.
International reggae artist Coffee and soca sensation Patrice Roberts are coming to Belize. And while that's the headline, the bigger news is that they're coming for Belize Music Fest, a brand new, first-of-its-kind, multi-million-dollar international music festival that promises to place Belizean artists at the front and center of multiple stages. The announcement was made this morning to an audience of A-list performers, including Stigda artists Super G, Yastalia, Ernestine Carballo, and much more. And in the days following a global pandemic, the launch of this entertainment juggernaut seems, on paper, to be just what's needed to inject some much-needed revenue into a fledgling and long-neglected Belizean music industry.
So to make the government, to make, the Belizean people really the support at this point, to make that happen and we see that happen, that's the best feeling in the world. So.
We all want to be out there. And I want to remind you guys that it's not just men in this industry, because we women, we up there and we want to make it.
I'm telling Mala for actually creating this event and giving us the opportunity to excel ourselves in our art and actually blow. Because you don't know what we want to do as artists. We need to go and bust outside internationally like everybody else.
And in sports, Elaine Thompson-Herro, Sherika Jackson and Brianna Williams are set to run in what is expected to be a competitive 100-meter race against Shakari Richardson and Dina Asher-Smith at the Prefontaine Classic this Saturday. The lineup was announced by the meet organizers on Monday. Thompson-Herro is expected to do well despite pulling out of the Birmingham Diamond League meet last Saturday due to a painful shoulder. Richardson opened her season at the 2022 Duval Country Challenge Puma event, finishing 4th in 11.37 in the 100-meter race. A sensational innings of 68 from David Miller led the Gujarat Titans to the Indian Premier League final after they beat Shimron Hetmeyer's Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in the first qualifier on Tuesday. Joss Butler slammed 89 off 56 in the Royals' 188 for 6. Captain Sanju Samson chipped in with 47, while Hetmeyer went for just 4 and Alzari Joseph was wicketless. The Titans never looked troubled in the pursuit as Miller finished the contest with 3 balls to spare, reaching 191 for 3. Defeat does not eliminate Royals from the tournament as they will compete in the second qualifier on Friday. To decide who will join Gujarat in Sunday's final, the Double R's will face either Lucknow Supergiants or Royal Challengers Bangalore, who play in the eliminator today. That's the news on PBC Jamaica. Remember to follow us on all social media pages at PBC Jamaica. Thank you for watching.